Hey guys, it's Brett from IBMA here. How you doing? Now really I did this video just to test my phone connection really. But yeah, let's see what this video comes out like now. How do I know martial arts works? What is it for? What am I talking about? Why does my opinion matter? Well, my opinion doesn't really matter. But let's address the first topic there. How do I know that martial arts works? Okay, so I've always done martial arts. I've done martial arts since I was a little kid, since I was about 5 years old. Started with Taekwondo and stuff. But other than being forced to do it, I didn't really sort of get into it properly until I was about 13, 14. So when I was about 13, 14, I just hung up a heavy bag, filled it with sands and stones like the Shaolins do, or like I thought they did at the time. And I just practiced all my old karate stuff that I learned as a kid, Shotokan training in South Africa. Kenya. And what I could remember training in South Africa, even younger, in Taekwondo. Yeah? And I became interested in the Shaolin Kung Fu, and I became inspired by the Shaolins and by their toughening methods, their conditioning. Conditioning in the martial arts is what has always interested me. So how do I know martial arts work? So, alrighty. So I spent the next at least 15 years conditioning and training myself using these Shaolin Kung Fu techniques. And yeah, sure, at the start I knew rudimentary ones, and I delved into Qigong and all this, and I wasn't doing it particularly good. But now, 15 years later of practice and learning, as well as doing other core martial arts, like 7 years of Jiu-Jitsu, actually Bujinkan Ninjutsu, but 7 years of that. But I never let go of this karate, Okinawa background, the conditioning, the Shaolin Kung Fu conditioning and strengthening trainings. Now, how do I know martial arts works? Because if you boil it down, or at least what I try and do, if you boil it down as a martial artist, you've got to be tough, you've got to strengthen your body. And the Shaolin realize this, and lots of real martial arts realize this. To compete in battle, you have to be tough, your body has to be strong. So for those 15 years I started off, I remember I was about 13, 14, and I said to myself, when I'm 18, I want to have toughened my hand up enough that I can break a brick. So I used to punch on my rock bag, I used to punch it, chop it, and actually I began learning how to chop because I punched and punched and punched, and my knuckles were so bled and cut and sore from doing it wrong, but I was young, that I then started to chop. And obviously I learned the chops as well from Jiu-Jitsu, but I then put them into practice. And I then blended them with the Shaolin Kung Fu techniques I was learning as well, because my instructor of Jiu-Jitsu also used to be an instructor of Shaolin Kung Fu. And his dad was early instructor of Shaolin Kung Fu in the UK. But it was cool because it was a natural progression. I punched, I blocked, I did all those karate things. And then my hands were so cut and bleeding that I was like, oh crap, I can't punch today, my knuckles sore. So I chopped, I backfisted, and chopping became one of my more powerful tools. Shins, training, iron palm on the sandbags. And I did this for years and years and years. But when I got to 18, I was able to break that brick. I started to develop that inherent toughness in the body. Now, that's what it is, guys. It's how do you know martial arts works? Or how do I know martial arts works? Well, there's a second answer to that question, but primarily, if you put the training in, if you toughen up your body, even if it's by running or whatever, you can believe in what you've done. You can believe in the hard work that you've put in. And that's why I like Shaolin Kung Fu. I like that mentality of it's almost like you're not training to fight someone. You're just training to toughen up your body. beyond the limits of normal reason. So, you know, you go to your bag and it's full of stones and gravel, and it's 5 times denser than a person. It's heavy. You hit it. If you're hitting it with the intent that I'm going to beat someone up and I'm going to crush some burglar and I'm going to do this, you'll give up. If you've got like something, or unless you're preparing for a fight or whatever, also it's a long time you've got to do it for. So even if you're like preparing for a fight a couple of months, you know, you need to actually punch a hard rock bag or sandbag or whatever. You need more than a few months. 3 months at least is usually the thing for each stage of doing anything in Kung Fu and in martial arts and in conditioning. But okay, I'll boil it down now. So I do all those trainings, if anyone's listening, I do all those trainings and conditionings, and now all these years later, I'm now 30. So 15 years, and I'm nowhere near as good as I thought I would have been, or hoped I would be. But all these years later, how do I know it works? All right, so what I do next is I go and work in a normal job, blah, 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 for a couple of years whilst I'm training and blah, blah, blah. And then I join the police. All right, so I've been in the police now for 9 years. Yeah, there's a thumbs up there. I've been in the police for 9. Sorry if people are putting comments. I can't see them on this thing because it's in widescreen mode for the camera. But after 9 years, so this is me, IBMA. People come on my YouTube page and they say, oh, this is fake and you're doing crap and none of this works and blah 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 and the usual rubbish. But this video isn't about that. But how do I know it works? All right. So I've been in the police for 9 years. Now, I was in the UK police for 7, and now I'm in the Australian police. Now, in all those 9 years, how many times do you think I've had to use martial arts? Loads and loads and loads and loads of times. All right? So, how do you know martial arts works? How do you know it works? I'll tell you what works. I'll tell you what works. Jiu-jitsu, and everyone's waited with bated breath here. Jiu-jitsu works. All right? So, anyone who says jiu-jitsu doesn't work, jiu-jitsu in its many various forms, okay, BJJ is another topic, but even BJJ, which is also awesome, obviously there's comments to be had about being on the ground. Jiu-jitsu works. Old style jiu-jitsu, if you train it properly, works, and it's brilliant for martial arts and self-defense. It's brilliant for law enforcement because alongside all my Shaolin Kung Fu's and conditionings, I've done 7 years at least of jiu-jitsu, old style jiu-jitsu, or Bujinkan if you want to call it, or whatever your variant of ninjutsu is, or jiu-jitsu, and it works because you can grab people without grabbing them too hard. You can put locks on them, you can restrain them, you can put chokes, you can put things like that, and that works. So with any martial art, I would say you need to have a level of technical skill if you want your martial art to work. If you're just kicking and punching, you need to take it beyond that, yeah? Because even Shaolin Kung Fu, Muay Thai, and there's lots of martial arts that the higher levels take it beyond just kicking and punching. So my advice to you is if you're doing like a martial arts that's really striky and you have no understanding of grappling or locks or anything like that, you need to go into that area and have a bit of that because it'll relax you down, it'll get you feeling, it'll change your ethos. So there we go. Jiu-jitsu and stuff works. Now, for all the people that say conditioning and all that doesn't work, because you see, I'm kind of in every pool here. There's loads of people who say, I do all the conditioning, and they say, oh, that never works, that's bullshit, you just get arthritis and da-da-da-da, yada-yada. Here's another thing. Inherently toughening yourself up is probably one of the most valuable things you can do in martial arts. Because just being a little bit tough and having strong body parts and a bit of conditioning, that has probably saved me equal to, if not more than, jiu-jitsu. All right? So there's a lot of times in my job where I've had to put on a good rear naked choke to get people to be controlled or to get out of a dangerous situation. So that's awesome. That's jiu-jitsu working, or judo, or whatever you want to call it. Locks, grapples, yeah? But there's almost, I can't weigh it up, but there's an equal to, if not more amount of times where a bit of conditioning and a bit of toughness has helped out for striking, for taking hits, for being hit into stuff, for being smashed down, flexibility. I remember once I got wrestled and my ankle popped out on the floor and someone fell on top of me. But luckily, because I was flexible, as it popped out, I sort of went into a back stance and it went back in and I didn't fall on the floor. Because here's one of the most truest things I'll tell you from, and I'm no MMA fighter, but I'm telling you from 9 years as a frontline police officer, yeah? 7 of those years with nothing except spray and a baton, because that's all you've got in the UK, and then now here as an armed officer and stuff like that. I will tell you that on the floor in real life is the fucking most dangerous place. Now, forgive me for swearing, but I have to emphasize that. On the floor in real life is not where you want to be. Never, ever, ever. You will die. Okay? So I'm no BJJ master, and I know very little about BJJ. Newaza, or groundwork, is an aspect of jiu-jitsu that is awesome and great, but all I want to tell you guys, and I'm not going to try and play this street game, but from being out there at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, having drunk people attack you, having to deal with people, being in houses, having your radio break, being alone, being attacked, I will tell you that being on the floor is not where you want to be, yeah? So think twice about taking people to the floor in a real outside worldy situation, yeah? That's just my opinion on the matter, yeah? And anyone who argues against that, well, that's their opinion and that's their right. But like I said, 9 years police officer out there on the streets, in the situations, just my opinion, but on the floor is not where you want to be. I've ended up on the floor lots, don't get me wrong, and that's a great place for jiu-jitsu and BJJ to come into it and all your jiu-jitsu techniques. But it's really, once you're on the floor, you really don't want to be there long, and you usually end up picking up injuries. All right, so again, how do you know your martial arts works? What are the things that work? Conditioning and toughening yourself up. 9 years police officer, that works, all right? Not that this makes me anything great, but you come on and you put these videos and people say, oh, well, you're just a keyboard warrior. And they assume things about you. They say, oh, you're a keyboard warrior. You've never seen anything. You've never blah, 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 blah. Well, in 9 years in the police, I've seen my fair share of shit. I tell you that, been in my fair share of crap. I got stories coming out the back of my ass that I can tell you. So, conditioning, it works, all right? It works to have strong fists. It works to have strong bones. It works to have a strong head because it helps you take hits. It helps you bloody hit away people. It helps you strike vital points in the body. Now, grappling and jiu-jitsu skills, they freaking work, so go and do them, yeah? Or in your martial art, in Kung Fu, in whatever, there are grappling techniques, there are locks, there are throws. Go and learn them. They work, all right? Now, I'm never usually this forward fronting and pointing in my videos, but I just wanted to say it like it is for people. Like, that stuff works. I'm tired of seeing whiny, whingy internet videos saying like BJJ is the only thing that works, or karate is the only thing that works, or Kung Fu is the only thing that works. No, in real life, the sort of MMA ethos is probably the better one to have. You need to be able to strike. You need to be able to grapple. You need an understanding of those things to be a fully rounded martial artist, not just for MMA. And I hate these anti-MMA fanboys that say, oh, sorry, no. I take it back. I don't hate them, sorry. Take it back. I don't hate anti-MMA fanboys. But you've got to appreciate that in real life, and obviously, like I said, for the millionth time, I'm telling you this as a 9-year police officer. In real life, it actually pays to be multi-skilled, yeah? But I don't deny, as a defense mechanism, you can have that like iron palm. You can have that iron fist where, you know, someone messes with you and you just, you know, or that inherent monk-like training, someone messes with you and you just chop them with your iron hand or whatever. But it better be the bloody hardest iron hand you've ever got. It better be the best one out there, because otherwise there's a lot of other crap you need to fall back on, all right? So being someone who's trained iron palm and iron fist and training like that for many years, I'm telling you that it's still not something you can just rely on. Because like I said, I had a situation where someone grabbed me and grappled me. Oh look, a comment comes up. Works better on smooth stone or sandbag. Sandbag's awesome for iron palm. Go on, get a sandbag, hit that. Honestly, that's like all you need. Yeah, you can start on a beanbag, but do it in 3-month segments. Yeah, 3 months. Don't try and rush it. You like legitimately, if you try and rush it, you'll make yourself sick. Like honestly, you will, because you deplete your organs of minerals that the body uses to make the bone. Yeah, you can use a stone too. Yeah, I've used a stone myself. I use a stone. You'll go back to some of my videos and you'll see me using a big stone. Like you get what's his name? Good old Nagata, not Nagata. I forget his name now. The famous there's a famous Okinawan karate now. Oh, do you know what? Someone should come here and shoot me for forgetting his name. He's like an icon of mine. Oh well. Anyway, he uses a big stone that he hits. Stone's fine. What I'd say about stone is you need to build up some inherent toughness before you go hitting a stone. So I'd put in a good couple of years on something else, and then try a stone every now and then. But don't make it your core one, because it's just not going to get that deep impact into the bones. It'll do surface stuff that won't really, it'll just damage your skin and damage it on the surface. Or at least if you're going to put a towel over it so that it's like you're soaking into it, boom, and you've got that reverberation back from the solid core. Yeah, that's something you could do. But anyway, back to my, thanks for those questions. Back to my main point and topic is that, you know, I'm no master, I'm no whatever. All you can be is what you can be. But for people following my channel and people listening, you don't hear from me much because my internet's crappy. I would urge you guys out there not to join any particular faction. Like, don't be like an MMA fanboy. Don't be a this fanboy. Don't be a that fanboy. Just realize that. And don't be a BJJ fanboy either. But BJJ is awesome, don't get me wrong. But you have to be, I would say, multifaceted. Yeah, and I don't think there's a martial artist in the world out there who can argue with that. That's basically the point in my video. Yeah, the point in my video is people who diss on conditioning because they just do a grappling art. Well, you better be Royce Gracie himself. Yeah, and even then, you know, you watch some of the old early UFCs, and you know, Royce Gracie was, you know, arguably one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners, BJJ, plus his brothers, of course, because he was meant to be like one of the lesser of the brothers, apparently. But, you know, he was up against some awesome fighters, but he was really, really good at what he did, and he managed to better them. Would he have bettered them out on the streets? Who knows? And yeah, he was the best, or one of the best. So if you're going to rely on that skill, you better take it to the nth degree. You know, you better be the best at it. But for the rest of us on Earth, I reckon you should just be multifaceted. But choose something that you really enjoy. Like I enjoy conditioning and iron palm. But yeah, it's my number one thing. I'd say conditioning and stuff like that is awesome, because it just toughens up your body. You can take hits, etc., etc. And that's how I know martial arts works, all right? For all the last rubbish I've been saying over the last 20 minutes, I know martial arts works because I did it, I trained it, I put it to the test. Okay, I've had my fair share of sparrings, like I fought some Muay Thai guys in a club in Belgium and stuff like that. I've had my fair share of sparrings. But like I said, from 9 years in the police, the real world out there is very different, and usually only one or two or three techniques will actually work for you. And also, do you know what? Another thing's really different is a lot of martial artists, it's defense, but it's very difficult to actually attack someone. Now you're thinking, why should I attack someone? Well, you know, like other than throwing a kick or a punch, everyone thinks I'm going to attack someone, I'm going to throw a kick or a punch at them. Well, it doesn't always work that way. Why would I attack someone? Well, you might do a preemptive strike. I've had to do preemptive strikes on people many a time. They're not necessarily a punch or a kick or something like that, because I think those are a bit forceful, you know, and unfortunately being a police officer, I have to be less forceful. But yeah, a preemptive strike is a neck hold, a grab, a choke, an arm bar, you know, whatever, a takedown. Those are preemptive strikes. You have to do preemptive strikes. Oh, actually, James, you're wrong in that one, buddy. Police can punch people. They really can, because I've had to, yeah. But you've just got to have to justify why you're punching people. If someone's in your face and they go into their pocket, you can literally punch them in the face. Yeah. All you've got to do is justify it. And I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but I had someone in the past who you know was arcing up with me, and they said, I'm going to take you down. They were really aggressive, really angry, and they went, I'm going to take you down. And they went like this, and they put their hands in their pockets. And I was standing right close to them, and the quickest thing I could do was just that. Yeah. And it just connected under the chin, and well, it wasn't like, you know, Hadouken. It wasn't like an uppercut, like Tekken or something, you know. But they were in front of me. They went, I'm going to take you down. Split second, I just went like that, and boom, knocked them back. They said, I'm going to take you down. The inference was that they had some kind of weapon and they reached into their pocket. Don't do that to a police officer. Don't stand in front of a police officer, shout in their face with their hands raised, and then go, I'm going to take you down, and put your hand in your pocket. Especially if you're a criminal. Especially when the first thing a police officer says to you is, don't put your bloody hands in your pocket. It's like rule number one, more so in America. Oh, and someone said, do you break boards? Yeah, well, more so before, but, well, not more so, but yeah, I break all sorts of rubbish, bricks and wood and stones, and just go coconuts, go back on my videos and you'll see all that breaky rubbish that I do. So yeah, guys, I haven't put any videos out for a while, and I've got a bit of spare time here today, and I just wanted to put one out, just airing my views on how do you know it works? Which is it's the age-old question you always get asked. How do you know it works? X, Y, and Z. It's cool that the comments are actually coming up on here. Yeah, I know. You see, I'm here in Australia too, so I've got a taser now. It's great. Yep, and I've got the Glock 22 and the baton. Now, in all my time in the UK, I never actually used my spray. I got sprayed, which was fantastic, and I had to fight people whilst sprayed. That was lovely. So there's another thing for you. So like other martial arts, like Kung Fu and stuff, people mock these martial arts, and famously Joe Rogan said like Kung Fu's all a load of rubbish. But then again, Joe Rogan now is different to Joe Rogan then, because he's been training with awesome fighters from the MMA. But hold on a second, just take it back. Why is Joe Rogan the freaking mouthpiece on the world on martial arts? Like, I respect him for his training up until this point, but go and watch freaking 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, and he was on bloody Fear Factor, and he was the prettiest pretty boy of the bunch. who probably, you know, I don't know, I didn't know anything about him, but didn't look like he did 1 cent of martial arts to save his life. So why are we listening to someone who's done sort of 5-6 years of martial arts, and now all of a sudden he's like the law on martial arts? So you know, that's a different topic, but because I know if you start dissing Joe Rogan, then all the Joe Rogan fanboys will come and get at you. But that's a true statement. That's a true statement, isn't it, guys? Come on. Even if you're a fanboy of Joe Rogan, you have to admit it. He was not in the martial arts. Suddenly he appeared. He was Fear Factor's face pretty boy. He appeared. He's a comedian who does a lot of coke, and then he got into UFC late. So he got into martial arts late. That's all he's known, and now he's dissing on other martial arts and saying they don't work. Well, I can tell you, look, there's a lot of martial artists out there who've trained kung fu, who've trained things like that for years, and they don't answer to Joe Rogan. You know, they don't have to come. But this I diverged off because yeah, it's good what he's doing now. But where I was going with the point was there's a lot of in-depth, like kung fu, some of the higher levels of kung fu or some of the training in other martial arts is about depriving yourself of senses. Yeah? So there we go. I was in a situation where I was, you're the only one here, mate. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Hold on, guys, I'll get to you there. But that's another thing where sometimes these silly trainings are good. Because like depriving yourself of your senses of sight and then having to do an obstacle course or having to fight or having to think, that's something you would do in other, like, in Kung Fu you might do that or Jiu-Jitsu or something like that. And some people might then say, oh, that's a stupid way of training. But I've been sprayed in the face with mace accidentally or contaminated with it in the real world, and then I had to fight people. Now that's something I couldn't have prepared for, but that's something that happened to me quite a few times with the actual mace, so not pepper spray but mace, which is crystalline and it diffuses and it's freaking horrible. Anyway, I tangented off there, but I suppose how do you know martial art works is when you do your thing and then you go out and you test it or it gets tested. And then you believe in it, yeah? So, that's it really. Vinegar. Your super soaker filled with vinegar, yeah. Jake Mace. And that's another thing. Yeah, Jake Mace. Oh, thanks to 10,000 things. Yeah, now, hold on, that's another thing. Now, there's a lot of dissing going on Jake Mace, and I wanted to say something about that here. I think as a martial artist, I mean, if you guys go back and see my videos, I'm all about iron body conditioning. I'm all about just simple training and conditioning methods, fisted, and I've got brick breaks and coconut breaks and stuff like that. No, man, I'm not going to sell you an iron body training course or something. If you go back on my videos or come to Iron Body Martial Arts on Facebook, I'll tell you what I know. And if you go back on my video list, you'll see loads of videos on conditioning trainings and stuff like that, and breaks and coconut breaks and this and that. And Dick to Joe video. Just be careful of Dick to Joe though, because it's poisonous. But yeah, hold on. I want to say something about Jake Mace. There's been a lot of people dissing on Jake Mace, and I'm not going to get into that debate. But I just think as a martial artist, you should recognize other martial artists. Like Jake Mace, I don't know what his background is or whatever, but he can do really good kicks. He's really flexible. He's like a vegan, and so he's got a lot of good traits. And there's so many people dissing on him. I'm not neither going to confirm or deny whatever. I'm just going to let him be the martial artist and leave him alone. Yeah, you couldn't find a systematic. Well, I suppose you'd be hard pressed to find a systematic video on my thing because I I suppose I haven't really done one. I might just have to do one, I suppose. I don't know. Yeah. The system really is. I mean, there's a sandbag. It's really like strike sandbag for 3 months. See how you're doing. Strike a beanbag for 3 months. See how you're doing. You can actually just strike any particular medium for 3-month periods, and you can stay on that medium, and you can just keep striking it, and it will just keep densening your bones. So you don't even necessarily have to progress. Like, you can just strike a beanbag, and that's easier on your body. And if you strike that for a year, say, instead of 3 months, you will have a very good level of conditioning. Oh man, there's lots of people out there. That tends to be what I do, is give tips. I was trying to put something together where I do videos and stuff like that, like to teach people, but then I felt it was, yeah, there we go. Someone said all over YouTube. I tell you what, go all over YouTube and look at stuff, and then if you want to, come on Iron Body Martial Arts on Facebook, or come back onto my channel and just say to me, look, I'm doing this, this and this, is it right? Is it okay? But all I can give you is my opinion. However, I have trained it since I was 13, all right? So I have picked up a lot of stuff on the way, because obviously, my breakfast. I wouldn't be able to break coconuts and boards and bricks and things like that if I didn't. Well, yeah, didn't I just say 13? Well, 12, 13. It's 15 years ago. I can't remember now. Someone said something about a heavy piece of paper. What was that? I missed that. Sorry, the comments kind of appear up here and then they disappear. So, you can use paper. You could use a paper roll. I know a good thing is a bamboo brush. Like if you get segments of bamboo and you put them together like a bamboo brush, you can start beating the bones with that, beating the body. That prepares it for the good stuff. No, I don't put Dick to Joe on my skull. I've not really been. Dick to Joe is good, but you see, it worries me because a lot of the ingredients are poisonous in it. So it's a vital training method. But there's a lot of other ways. Like you can soak your hands in hot water before you do your training. And then you can soak it in hot water afterwards. Anything that Tiger Balm is good, but it's not as complicated as Ditta Joe. There's also Ditta 1. There's internal tablets which are probably better. So they're like sort of vitamin supplements. Well, look, 10,000 method. If just go on Iron Body Martial Arts Facebook page and just send me a message, and just say, where do you want to start? If you want to start training Iron Body, or if you want to start conditioning, either get a sandbag or get a bag full of mung beans, like a canvas bag, or buy the bag from the shop and wrap it in loads of duct tape, yeah, and then strike it for 3 months. Okay, before you do that, put your hands in some hot water, or rub deep heat or something like that heats the surface of your skin, yeah, or a sandbag. So I would suggest the mung beans, or even a bag of rice if you really want to start getting the feeling of it, because it's good to have something that you sink into. A lot of the times a sandbag is like too compact, but certainly a sandbag is what I started with. But there's other reasons. Now, mung beans have a property in them which is meant to aid the healing of the skin and aid the development of iron palm. Don't ask me precisely what it is. It's some Chinese herbal thing, but that's why you would use a bag of mung beans. But you can even buy the bag, like I said, wrap it in duct tape, put it on the surface, and there's no secret. That the biggest thing is, I can tell you guys after like nearly 15 years of training Iron Palm and stuff, is there's no secret. Everyone tries to sell you a secret. Everyone tries to tell you a secret. This is another thing from the 72 Secret Arts of the Shaolin, which is what the manual that I study, is there are no secrets. There is only step-by-step training methods. That's all. There's no secrets, yeah? So put that bag on the table that I told you with the mung beans, wrap it in duct tape, and strike it, yeah? Strike it hundreds of times. Warm your hands before you strike it, and warm your hands after you strike it again, yeah? There's other stuff you can do too. You know, you flick your hands out, you massage them. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm telling you there's no secrets. They'll tell you there are secrets. Okay, there might be a few little tips, or there might be things that'll help you along the way. But if you look at all my videos, my general consensus in martial arts and kung fu, and I've had this verified by quite a few, an instructor that means a lot to me in China, who's currently inherited his own faction of Shaolin Kung Fu, is that he calls it Jin Si Sun, is that there's really no secret other than training. Yeah. So, well, thanks, buddy. There's no secret other than training. So yeah, that's a quick. Yeah, so this trailed on to how do you know martial arts works into a bit of an Iron Palm answer and question and answer session. But that's good. All I'd say to you guys is, like, genuinely be careful about, I've done it myself. Generally be careful about just going too hard on your body, especially with the Iron Palm stuff, because I'll tell you this this is a science fact now. I've been really hard on my body, and maybe I've trained is it the yin or yang, the hard style kung fu a bit too much, and too, like stones and stuff like that. And now, like, my creatine levels in my body are really high, because the doctors are taking my bloods and stuff. I've got a bloody needle in my arm already, because if you're always damaging your body and you're always striking it, creatine is like a muscle wastage byproduct, a metabolic byproduct in the muscles. So from always doing those things, my creatine levels are really high. That can affect your kidneys, that can cause problems for you. And that's why in the old days, the masters used to say, look, don't try and skip stages because you will harm yourself. In other words, if you go from 0 Iron Palm to hitting like an iron shot bag, you actually will, over the course of about a 2-year period, or 1 to 2 year or some months, you'll cause yourself sickness. You'll lose weight, unless you're just lucky or your body is very tough. Yeah. And also, if you're gonna do Iron Palm and stuff like that, make sure you sort your cardio out. Make sure your resilience in your body. Make sure your body is resilient. So get your cardio out there. Make sure you can do like loads of burpees. I thought about doing that too. Oh, what's that, bud? Doing the iron shot? Well, I've trained on the iron shot bag. Skipping's good. I trained on the iron shot bag. I've got a lot of videos of me using the iron shot bag, and it's awesome. But that's why I can break the coconuts and stuff like that, and break the bricks, and because I trained and trained and trained, I went on to the iron shot bag and I did that. My iron shot bag was a bit crappy though, but that, what I'm saying is, you really got to build up to it slowly. Like if you look at the 72 Secret Arts of the Shaolin, you're talking like 5 years. You're talking like years before someone reaches like proficiency. Oh no, but hold on, I lie. About a year, yeah. Because 5 years is, if you've been training the iron shot method, 5 years is where you will then be almost masterful in its employment. Yeah, if you've been training it regularly. Yeah, but certainly the 3-month gap period is awesome. But the more time you can give yourself, the better. Yeah. So if you do too much or the wrong way, you will destroy fine motor skills in the hands. You can do, yeah. I must admit, bud, I've, since 12 or 13, whichever age it was, I've probably trained the wrong way a lot. Like I said, I used to punch a sand and gravel-filled boxing bag when I was 13, and you know, elbow it and stuff like that and hit it. And I used to have cut knuckles and blistered knuckles and stuff. And I'm currently learning the guitar, so you know I've got dexterity in my fingers. So I'm pretty alright. Hold on, guys. I'm just gonna get a power cord for this phone. Tell you what, it's amazing what these phones can do. It's just about to die. This isn't even on my, this is just on my bloody data. Oh yeah, hey, I don't know if you're being sarcastic there or not. but yeah, so yeah, like I said, nearly 15 years of a lot of the wrong kind of training as well. And, you know, I don't have arthritis, but then I might just be lucky. But hey, I might not be lucky because I'm 30, but by the time I'm 40, my hands might be screwed. So who knows? But all I would say in that regard is doing what I've done has helped me reach this age, because I've been able to defend myself and stuff in a job that's not the most dangerous job in the world. But it's pretty tough. It can be. Well, there we go. If you do it right, and you're consistent, I don't think it allows the body to then crumble in on itself. And even if it does, your version of that ailment will probably be like, if someone does nothing, you know, people can be like 20, they get arthritis and it like riddles them. But there's osteoarthritis, and there's, I forget which one's which, but there's an arthritis, the diseased, and then there's arthritis, which they label as arthritis, that is caused through wear and tear in old age. So that's probably more likely to be the one you'll get. Like, there is a differentiation. I'm no doctor, but there is a differentiation in arthritis. Like my gran had arthritis, which was like, you know, from the age of 20, it crooked and like, you know, debilitated her. But that's a different arthritis to like the arthritis you would get if you just hammered your joints and then, you know, through wear and tear they started to become a bit shitty. Yeah. So I think a lot of people, there's a bit of a misunderstanding there, you know, and it makes people scared because they want to do conditioning, they want to do these trainings, and people go, no, don't do those, you'll get arthritis. You know, I had an instructor in the past who was the same. You know, he was really technical and jiu-jitsu-y, but, you know, he hated anything to do with conditioning or punching or whatever, because he was like, nah, you'll get arthritis and you won't have longevity. But also he was traveling to Japan, and he was, you know, seeing, you know, for the 5 or 6 or 7 masters that you see in their 90s breaking boards, there's scores who have a lot of issues, worn out hips, you know, Ditta Joe's awesome to use. Do you know a person named Jason Curtinatis? No. Who's Jason Curtinatis? Breakfast. Sorry, shouldn't do videos with your mouth full. There's a lot to be said too for the correct kind of diet. You know, trying to keep your diet not acidic, not too acidic. I mean, I'm lucky in that regard. I just have a bit of a shitty stomach, so I have to eat really plain things. So I'm South African, but I live in Australia. Oh, iron rings. I tell you what, I've always wanted iron rings. They're awesome because there's a skill in the 72 secret arts of the Shaolin called twin locks. Yeah. Now all it is, I'll show you it. If I can undo this bloody thing. All it is that every day, and this is why I love the 72 secret arts of Shaolin, you just tap these bones together. Yeah. Yeah, you just tap them together very, very, very lightly and gently. Yeah, because at first you'll feel that it's very painful, but yeah, eventually from just tapping them together and grinding them, this becomes very strong and powerful. Like you know in the old Okinawan karate, the blocks that they do, yeah, they're attacks with this bone. That's the whole purpose of these blocks. It's a parry and an attack with the bone, yeah, yeah, and it's called it's just called the what's it called? So it's called the wrist sword or something they call it. I've forgotten the Japanese name for it, but it's called twin locks. It's from the 72 secret arts of the Shaolin, and it's one of the 72 secret arts. So this is what I love about Kung Fu and these inherent martial arts, is that you'll be there, you can imagine a monk walking around, just tapping his bones together. You guys try it now. Just tapping the bones, not the meat, the actual bones on bone. You're just tapping those every day. And this is how true martial arts Kung Fu developed. Someone will come and attack that monk, and after years of training like this, he'll fucking hit their arm, hit them like that, break a bone in them. Easy. You can easily apply enough force to fracture someone else's bone in their arm. If you've been doing this and they haven't, it's just easy, yeah? Because it targets that bone precisely, whack, and it can fracture it, yeah? Yeah, you condition the shins in the same way. So this is the starting way. So you start with twin locks like this, just tapping. Don't go crazy. Don't cause any bruising. Oh yeah, well there we go. See, it's true, man, and it works 100%. But of course, you've got to graduate it. So you do the tapping, and usually from the 72 Secret Arts, it said, if you get to the point where you can hear a dull thudding like this, you'll probably hear that anyway every now and then. But once you get to the point where you can consistently hear that thudding, you know that the skill has revealed itself a little bit to you. Yeah. Once you get to that point, you can anyway, you just move on to the back of the fists. Mantis Kung Fu do a lot of this style conditioning, just skin on skin. Yeah. And then you do the same on your shins, whereby you'll just get your shins with your inner thing and you'll just tap them. Yeah. But of course, you got to wait until your arms are strong enough, yeah, to do your shins, because your shins are stronger than your arms. But yeah, like I said, this is a workshop surface. Yeah, and just striking with that. Yeah, see? So now you see that, if you don't know, well, I'm sure you do, but you see the genesis of Okinawan karate and old side coming from White Crane Kung Fu and coming from those things where you see these blocks in karate and people, well, they should realize, that's why it's awesome to go into these martial arts and into these conditioning. Conditioning changes everything, because if you do karate and you don't block and condition with this, you're actually missing out in one of the basic key secrets, or not secrets, but tools of karate. You know, nearly every block that they do is, you know, when they're doing the katas and you've got movements like this, you know, it's a lot of the time people are like, oh, it's a fist. Yeah, but it is. But first of all, it's you moving and parrying the arm, striking the arm, and then back fist. Yeah, but you can't. So you're not actually blocking the arm as it comes in. You're actually guard or wherever. Punch comes in, moving out the way, parry to get it under control. Strike with the bone into the joint to cause their arms to break or be severely hurt with the bone, and then back fist. That's just a segment of a piece from a kata or something people might recognize. Just a parry and a guard and a back fist. But there we go. Yeah, bridge, the iron bridge. Yep, that's it. Similar to the iron bridge in Wing Chun. I've never done and don't do Wing Chun, but yeah. Obviously, the bridge or the iron bridge is a term used in Kung Fu for sort of the same thing, the iron bridge, because I did a video on iron bridge. To me, iron bridge, the bridge is just the whole arm, and the iron bridge is just toughening the arm from the very tip all the way to the shoulder. But yeah, guys, it's awesome, similar to Wing Chun, of course. But that's where iron ring training's good. I've always wanted to do it. Now that's the same. People might see these people with the iron rings and they're like, oh, what's that stupid crap? No. The iron rings are doing the same thing as this striking. When you're moving like this, the rings are rattling against the bones, as well as developing the muscle here. This concentrated striking muscle, yeah, as well as developing that. They're rubbing on the bones, because this conditioning method, you can grind and rub, not too hard. But that's where Jitsu-Jo comes in, because if you are doing it every day, you rub a bit of thing to warm up the area, the blood circulation increases and the body better heals itself. So that's just one of 70 secret arts of the Shaolin. So yeah, you would hit these this way, you'd hit the back of your fists, you'd hit your shins. And it's just something you can do whilst watching TV and stuff. But it actually makes you a better martial artist. Now, how can that be a bad thing? And then this strike I've actually used on duty. I used it to strike someone 3 times in the neck when they were gonna. My little colleague, who's about this big and a female in the UK, went to a door, and this guy who thought he was a really big, hard boxer guy was like, oh, if you try and come in here, I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to knock you out. She called for backup. I came to the door looking at this guy, and he's like, oh, I'm going to knock you out. So this is where jiu-jitsu and striking combine to make a good number. So this is a God-honest, true story. So for some reason, I don't know why, but the guy said, you come forward, I'm going to knock you out. I said, well, we're coming in. I stepped forward. As I stepped forward, he pushed his arm back down like this. In a split second, because you see, this is where you have to be able to intercept an attack. Now, I wish I could have done this move, but it was awesome. It worked. So in a split second, I used both hands to grab his one arm, like this, boom. And then if you guys know Onkyo from Aikido, Onkyo, it's where you turn someone's arm like this, yeah? So you grab the wrist, you turn it like this, and then you got control of the joint. So, now what's this? Yeah, they do, because they're stupid. So I grabbed the arm, and then I turned underneath and back to him. Now, if you grab someone's arm, and you enter in, and you turn underneath and back on yourself, then you'll end up with them locked up like this. So he was locked up like this, looking at me. Then he stupidly tried to punch me in the face, because I had him like this. I had my big black crappy police gloves on. And he looked at me, and I said, I was in my mind, I was saying, just wait. He's going to try it. And sure enough, he tried to hit me in the face, because that's the only option I gave him. And the way this lock works is, as someone goes forward, you just hold it where it is, and it applies pressure back on their arm. So he went like this, and I just twisted this more, and he went like that. We flew onto the floor. When we were on the floor, my anger levels got a bit higher, because I'd suddenly realized he was trying to hit me. So I struck him 3 times in the neck here. And as you guys know, if you chop to the neck, we do this a lot in jiu-jitsu, but if you chop to the neck here, it can knock someone out pretty easily. So he hit the floor, and I had enough. I hit him. I was obviously shouting at him to stop struggling and blah, blah, blah. And he didn't. I thought, forget this. And I chopped him 3 times in the neck. 1, 2, 3 with this bone, because I was feeling particularly unsort of coordinated that day. I could have done a super chop. But you know, when you go into these fight situations, you start to lose this fine motor coordination. So obviously somehow I did this move, which was really nice. Could I say I could do it again? No. I know how to do the move. Had I practiced it a million times before? No. It just came out. It adapted to the situation. 3 of those nice chops in the neck, and Mr. Guy was sleeping on the floor. Turns out he had 2 wanted persons in his house, so that's why he was arcing up. Because the original job was the fact that he wouldn't pay for his freaking takeaway curry that he ordered. So we're there going, just pay for your freaking curry. If the idiot had paid for his curry, his 2 wanted mates wouldn't have gone to prison. But that's criminals for you. They're stupid, aren't they? So anyway, that's another story I digress about. But if you guys know the channel, you know I haven't actually been online for ages. So I guess I'm letting out a load of rubbish that's kind of bottled up. And also, this is probably the first time that I've, just had a chat with people on here, told them a bit of what I do, or what I did do. Well, sorry, what I do, and maybe told them a few stories from the past. Oh, the gripper. Well, I've always had the 300, the 300-pound gripper. I've always had that one, and it broke. It eventually broke. So I managed to close it once, but it broke. Hold on, what is this? I've got one of these. So I managed to close it once and it broke, but I'd had it for more than 3 years and it just must have suffered metal fatigue. I got another one that I've been using, 300-pound gripper, really good. But I usually wear it on my vest, on my belt, on my equipment belt at work. People always laugh because they're like, what the hell's that? And it's just a gripper. The other guys at work, the other cops, they're like, what the hell? And I'm there grippering it. When I'm like doing a file, I'll be there grippering this gripper. But that's another thing I want to say to you guys. I like the ethos of Kung Fu, or the ethos of your martial art. The reason I like the ethos of Kung Fu, but it can extend to all martial arts, is because there's this aspect of always training. Yeah. So there's little things you can do to always be training. Yeah. Like the Shaolins do it a lot. Like if you read interviews with like it's the Wu Galung Kung Fu Academy. It's the one in, I'd love to go there. It's the one, it's a small one up in the mountains, but it's an offshoot. Awesome academy. But the master there, someone interviewed him, and they made comment that his calves were huge. But then whilst they were interviewing him, he was constantly flexing his calves, constantly tensing them and releasing them, tensing them and releasing them. And that's what I mean. If you're at an office doing your desk work, if you've got the mindset for it, I know it might be tiring, but you can tense your calves, and people think, well, that's not going to do anything. You can tense the back muscles in your leg, relax them, tense them, relax them. Oh, that's not going to do anything, but it does. It's an ethos of constant training. So it's the same with this gripper. I'm there doing a file. It annoys the shit out of my colleague because, all you can hear is the squeaking. But yeah, you're there gripping this thing. But sorry, mate. Long story short is I lost the damn thing. But you got a little gem out of there about constant training. I've got one here. Where is it? Oh, this is another thing I use. I'll tell you guys about this. You use that. That's good. The cat wants to go outside. That bloody thing. Oh yeah. Yeah, I got this one. No, I'll let the cat out. Get out of here. Yeah, I got this one. So this is from Australia, this one, and look at the spring on that. So the spring's pretty thick. But yeah, I went to the shop. It was funny, I was dressed in a suit because I just had an interviewer. So I went to the shop in Australia, having been used to my 300-pound gripper, as in weight. And then I went to this and I walked up to, I said to the guy, what's your strongest gripper? I want your strongest gripper. And he went, oh, this one. And I grabbed it. I was in a suit and pretty much like now, looking pretty small. And I just got it and I was like, yeah. I said, that's not very strong, that. And the guy took one look at me and he like grabbed the gripper and he was like, so, you know, it's a bit of a funny story. I was like, oh man, this is just really easy to close this thing. And he was like, oh, well, you just must be bloody strong or something. But yeah, no, I don't know what this one is. It's not, it's meant to be extra strong. It's got a pretty strong spring on there, but as you guys can see, I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's maybe 250 pounds, 200 pounds grip strength closing force, maybe. Yeah. So grip is good, but this is something I wanted to show you guys. Just a nice little ring. Yeah, all right. This is another 72 Secret Arts, the Shaolin little thing called Circle Ryu. Circle, R-Y-U is a translation of it. All right. Now this is nice and easy. So this is just a. First off, could someone just comment on the video quality and the sound quality of this? Because I'm just using my 4G on my phone. God knows how much data it's going to cost me, but I got a bundle of data. Because if I use my Wi-Fi, it's shit. That's why you guys haven't got any videos from me, because my Wi-Fi is atrocious. Oh, brilliant. Oh, wow. Because it says poor connection on there, but yeah. All right, anyway, before we talk about the gripper, so this is a 1.2 kilogram weight. 12 kilograms. Yeah, 1.2, yeah, geez, that was 12. So, all right, so this is part of training Eagle Claw, and you probably just forgot to put the point, that's all. So this is this ethos of constant training. So I take this in my bag. Sometimes I've actually got it in my tack vest. So it adds a bit of extra weight to you, but you've got a freaking cuffs, you've got a gun, you've got a baton, you might as well have a freaking 1.2 kilo plate. And if anyone shoots you, it might stop a bullet. So there we go. I would use an iron ring. You know, someone mentioned about the iron rings, but I don't have an iron ring. I've never been able to get one. So short of getting a welder and cutting through this thing, or whatever you cut through metal with. So anyway, Circle Ryu, 72 Secret Arts of the Shaolin. So all you do with this trick, and this is something one of my what would you call them? Well, an instructor friend of mine who's trained for 25 years in China, and inherited his own system. This is something me and him also talked about. But anyway, so that the twisting is his method. Yeah, he does it. His Jinsei Sam, he does it on one of his videos. But inherently, you would do it anyway. But anyway, the method is you just grip it. So you know it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly this weight, but this is a good carryable size. And you grip it with your fingers. Yeah, and you just make twists, concentric twists. Yeah, and you might think, oh well, what's that going to do? But you got to do a lot of them, yeah. But you see, you're focusing all the muscles, you're focusing the grip, and also you're toughening the tips of your fingers. Now, funnily enough, it's similar to those. It's an old Chinese version of that. It really is. So I used to train this a lot with slightly bigger plates, where you'd stand up, and I'm teaching some kids at the moment, and I gave it to them, and you stand and you twist it like this, yeah, and you twist and you make simple twists, and the idea is that you're using the centrifugal force to make it weigh more. You know, so yeah, this weighs 1.2 kilos, but obviously if you start moving around, it's weighing more, and you do twists like this. Yeah, I think if you watch Master with cracked fingers or bloody Drunken Master, you'll probably see a similar thing in there. But the thing is, people think those are silly, but those are actual documented training methods this is from the 72 Secret Arts of the Shaolin. So yeah, in other words, look, you just I'm not going to tell you how to move, just get it and you'll see. You make circles with it, yeah, you make circles, you make twists, and if you can't be so animated, like if you're at work or somewhere or in your car driving to work in the morning, however, always be in full control of your vehicle. I'm not advocating anything other than that, but you can do the concentric twist. You're meant to do 1,000 concentric twists, like 500 one way, 500 the other way. Yeah, those are the amount we're talking about. But doing that amount, doing that insane amount of concentric twists, that develops the... See, part of the 72 Secret Arts of the Shaolin, or that ethos, is developing inane skills, inane powers that are so trained and so ingrained into the body that it's almost like a natural force, a natural instinct. You know, you're not grabbing it and going, yeah, 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 yeah. You'll just get repetitive strain injury. You're using the natural movement of your body, and here, I suppose there belies a secret. You're using the natural movement of your body, yeah, and you're just toughening up a natural movement, yeah? No, I don't think anyone's mastered all 72 Secret Arts of the Shaolin, but it's good, it's worth getting. Basically, my whole 15 years of training has been based on that manual. Oh, of course, actual instruction, but that is my sort of Bible when it comes to conditioning, is that 72 Secret Arts of the Shaolin. It's kind of like, it doesn't give you all the answers, by no means. It's just, and a lot is probably omitted from it, but it's a good starting point for people. Yeah, so this is great. You do twists on it. You do twists with it. And funnily enough, it actually helped me strengthen my fingers for guitar playing too. Also, you do things like this. Yeah, so you run your fingers like this. Yeah, you just walk them. Yeah. And you'll just, I mean, this is very boring, I know. Like, people want to see flying kicks and stuff, but I'm just trying to give you guys, well, I'm just chatting to you this morning anyway. I was trying to chat to you about why I think martial arts works. But yeah, it's turned into a bit of a few little techniques being shown, a few little thingies. Yeah, for the neck, do headstands. So yeah, I'll go, I've got a video on it, but I'll go put a towel down or whatever, and I'll just stand on my head, put my feet on the wall, and I'll just stand like that. Yeah, stand like that to make the neck good. Yeah, so anyway, guys, that's that. Yeah. So just keep one of those things. It's another thing you can use. It's good. Yeah, help develop the grip. And then, of course, probably... Here's one of the better plates here. The better plate size for more active training, I would suggest, is 2.5 kilos. Yeah. So that's probably the one I would use if I were you. Or if it shouldn't be too heavy, but that's the one I would use outside when you're training. You can do strikes and punches with it, obviously, but you're gripping it eagle claw style. That's the one that'll give you a real big workout, you know. Yeah. Yeah, but again, the concentric grips. This is good stuff. Usually when you look up front kick training on YouTube, you'll find a guy dying front kicks rather than trying. Yeah. All right. So yeah, another thing with this finger training is the grip training for eagle claw is you are meant to try and have your fingers, but this works for grip strength anyway, as stretched out as they can be. Yeah. So you need something. So I know I said this ring is good. This ring is good, but technically it's still quite not big enough for the official style of training, where your hand's got to be splayed out as much as it can, because eagle claw is pretty, out there, you know. But you say eagle claw, but come on, it's gonna increase your whole grip. But of course you can just do the 3 fingertips. But that's sort of specializing, and you know, you might as well just do all your fingers, yeah. Unless you train eagle claw kung fu, which really is quite an ancient system of grabbing joints in China and stuff like that, and you know, you'd have to be very good to make it actually functionable, other than just grabbing someone's Adam's apple, yeah. But you know, we can all do that, you know, pretty much. I think most humans, without even training, have the strength to grab someone's Adam apple and just crush it, yeah, because it's not that strong. All right. Oh, I used to be better at taking throat chokes. Yeah, that used to be a game me and my friends used to play. You know, well, hold on, that sounds weird. You know, we used to, in our martial arts, gi choke each other, try and rear naked choke, resist it. My instructor was very good at resisting those chokes because he'd done Shaolin Kung Fu. But yeah, now I'm not so great as I used to be because I'm a bit lazier, I suppose. But yeah, if you do your headstand training, like I still do it. I keep it to a certain level, but because of work and blah blah blah, I don't do it as much as I would like. Like I used to have a bloody. Oh well, you can probably. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I've got like a ridge on the top of my head. I like lean the neck into a stick or something. No, go, do like yoga. Go and look on like a yoga headstand. So what you'll do, you'll put a mat down on the floor. You'll put your hands and your head on the floor, and then you'll bring your legs up, and you'll be supporting your head and your head and your body sort of like this. If you imagine the floor's above me, yeah. And then that's all you need to do. It'll be great for your core, and it'll start to strengthen the top of your head and your neck. That's all you need to do. And then once you get, after some period of time, you get strong, you can then do it against the wall and remove your hands. And you can just do it with your head. Yeah? And that'll strengthen your neck awesomely. Yeah? But it also keeps the spine in line nicely. Yeah? Like a Mike Tyson bridge. Yeah. I don't know what that is, but if Mike Tyson did something similar to that, that's probably something you could do. Oh, I'll tell you what else is good for neck training is, and it's great for your back as well, but albeit you've got to be careful because it's pretty hard, but this is quite a kung fu used technique, is you put two chairs or your couches, something apart from each other, and you put your head on one of the chairs, and you put your heels on the other of the chair, and you hold yourself there, facing the ceiling, of course, not facing the floor, otherwise you'll have a sore face. And you hold yourself there in a bridge. Yeah, great. There's a Chinese author called Wong Q Kit who writes a very good book on qi gong and grounding and energy and blah blah blah. But he's also a chiropractor. So he focuses one of those books. And here's another thing, Qigong and all that, it's actually all about alignment. It's all about bone alignment and grounding. It's less, probably at the very higher levels, but it's actually a functional thing. It's just alignment of the bones and movement and stuff like that. These movements you see the Shaolin doing. Part of it is because they believe there's an energy there, yes, and they may be able to channel some sort of energy or an intent, yes, at the higher levels. But at the fundamental level, it's a physical. It's like a calisthenics. It's like a warm up, yeah. And science has now proved that if you warm up the body, it's something like 20% stronger. So before you go and lift your weight, in the gym. If you in the air just do that a few times, that will actually make that movement, that dynamic tension, will actually make you already 20% stronger. Apparently, read into it. It's a true thing. The 20% may not be the exact figure, but that's what I can remember off the top of my head. But that's where these iron wire techniques, I've got some iron wire videos where you do gripping. Like this, and these things from Sanshin, these silly movements and stuff like that people mock. It's all just muscle tensing, breathing stuff. No, I've never. I suppose is it yin or yang style Tai Chi? The Shaolin Kung Fu derivative. I've got some knowledge of, because like I said, my instructor, is it yin style or whatever, because my instructor was Shaolin Kung Fu. My jiu-jitsu instructor, my old jiu-jitsu instructor in the UK, to clarify, his dad was a Shaolin Kung Fu instructor and he learnt Shaolin Kung Fu from him. So I say my instructor, I mean my jiu-jitsu instructor was trained in Shaolin Kung Fu by his dad. Not so much, but what he showed me just regards to the postures, the strength, the flexibility, dynamic tension. But to Puglin, To Pugland, yeah, I would love to learn more. I'm currently studying, well, on and off trying to study. Well, actually, I am. What do you call it? Tidsin Quen iron wire. Because so for you guys who don't know, like Sanshin is a kata in a lot of Okinawan karate, and it's a breathing. It's called the 10 battles or something like that. Yeah, the battle of the mind, or 4 battles or whatever it is. It's the battle of the mind, the battle of the body, and the battle of the spirit or something like that. And it's basically a breathing set that you use to iron body, to toughen your body, to strengthen it up. And it really is breath control and making different sounds to tense different parts of your body. Yeah, so Tidsin Quen iron wire is, if you look it up, it's basically it's the father of all of those. You know, it's a 72. It's Hung Gar, and it's a 70, which is a kung fu, and it's 72 or 70 something separate forms with breathings. But the principle is just dynamic tension. Anyway, sorry guys, I veered off onto talking crap now about that. It probably doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people because it's kind of a bit specialized, but it's nothing magical. It's just an area of interest for me. You know, the breathing, the body, the strengthening the muscles and stuff from the inside. What was that sound? It was my fiance giving me a message saying, "What the hell are you up to?" She probably thinks I'm cleaning. Someone said, what is better for a skinny guy, judo or BJJ? Well, hold on. See, judo, newaza. So BJJ is an offshoot of jiu-jitsu focusing on newaza, which is ground fighting. Yeah, and standing up stuff. I guess they've gone back to standing up now, but they really excel in newaza, which is groundwork. So if you do judo, you can also do newaza, and you can also specialize in newaza, which is the groundwork. So in essence, if you're doing BJJ and you're doing judo, you're kind of doing the same thing, but it depends which one you like. I would say go and do judo. Get a good grounding in that, spend some time in it, and then go to jiu-jitsu, and you'll see that it's the same thing. But you spend a lot of your time doing the ground fighting because that's what they do, which is really good. You know, they specialize in that. So in other words, they specialize in an aspect of judo, or they specialize in an aspect of jiu-jitsu, because it was a jiu-jitsu master who took it to Brazil. Good. Always go and train. Go and train 10 times before talking about it. Yeah. Because what do they say? They say it should be, martial arts should be 10% theory and 90% practice. And that's what I believe. And you can learn all that you need to know from practicing. Yeah. My best advice is, if someone, like people come up to me, how am I going to kick? How should I learn to kick? You know? I'm like, look, one thing I always did is I always, this may go against the grain, but I didn't very much believe, I was forced to do it, so maybe that's a different thing. I was forced to do it for many years. But then by sort of 12, 13, I didn't very much believe in kicking the air and stuff like that, because I felt I'd done a lot of kicking the air, in my karate and all that, and since I was like 5 years old, and, I felt that now you should be kicking and hitting things. Yeah. So when I train people to kick and hit, I almost forego the kicking the air bit, and I just say, look, if you want to know how to kick that bag, kick it again, kick it again, kick it again, kick it again, and the mechanics of kicking will reveal themselves to you. Yeah, you might need to be shown 1 or 2 things, but like you might need to be shown hit with this part of the foot, hit with that part of the foot, hit with the shin. But yeah, now I'm teaching some kids. And I'm just saying to them, look, kick the wall. I've got these little kids kicking a wall, albeit they're doing like front stomp kicks, but they're doing them just on the wall, and they're controlling their power so that they're just tapping the wall with their foot. But some of them are getting a bit better and they're stomping it, and inherently they're strengthening the bottom of their feet. Yeah, they're not slamming into it and destroying their bones, but I've tried to get these damn kids to just do a front kick in the air. They just can't do it. I don't know what's up with kids these days. They can't barely lift their own legs, you know. But yeah, you know, maybe I'm being too hard on them. They're just kids. But yeah, that seems to so in response to that, if you guys want to know, if anyone out there needs advice on kicking, because I get so many questions about it, but I'm no great kicking guru. But if you want to just go and kick things, yeah, go and kick a bag, put up a bag and kick it, kick a wall, yeah, flat kicks on wall, low kicks on the toes. There's a lot of lower kicks before you get to any of the high kicks, and the lower kicks are very functional. In fact, the only kicks I've used in real life, like combat, like out in the police, the only kicks I've used is a lower thigh leg kick. That's the only one I've used. When someone went crazy and tried to come at me, and I like looked at them as if to like be like, "What are you doing?" And I just did a stomp kick to their inner thigh, and it just luckily it just did the desired effect and tumbled them over. And then I looked at them and I was like, "Well, you shouldn't have done that, should you?" Yes, yeah. So that was the beginning of my video, all the way back at the beginning to 10,000 method. Was who am I, or why do I believe martial arts works? And the crux of what I was saying is that conditioning works, grappling and jiu-jitsu works, and those things work because all you can do with your martial arts is learn it and then have it tested or tested. And I've been 9 years in the police, and I'm not professing to know it all, but from my opinion, those are the things like conditioning. Because there's a big group of people who say to me online, conditioning doesn't work. Yeah, and I'm like, that's bullshit. Because I tell you what, 9 years of being in the police, and you know, I'm pretty happy that conditioning works. You know, it's saved me in a lot of ways. I explained to you guys how it makes you do effective strikes and stuff like that. But to that same extent, you need to be able to have some form of feeling and grappling skills as well, because that is almost equal to, if not more, of my experience on the streets, in people's houses, in real life, being attacked, being grappled, is that you need to be able to grapple as well as strike. For me, unfortunately, it was legal reasons, but it's also, you know, normal reasons, you know. So yeah, sorry, I'm a policeman. Not 7 years in the UK, where all we had was a spray and a baton, and 2 years in Australia, where now we've got guns. So I've had my senses deprived of me. I've been maced in the face and had to fight with and struggle with people. I've been attacked on my own in hotel rooms. I've had my ankle popped out during said attacks, and I can tell you that flexibility, strength, conditioning, cardio, and grappling skills are all things that in real life are necessary. So that's why I said, and I'm not trying to say this as a big I am video, because I'm no one. Those are just things that have actually happened to me. But I'm just responding to all the videos out there where people are fanboying. They're MMA fanboying, they're BJJ fanboying, they're Kung Fu fanboying. And, you know, there's a lot of people living in cloud cuckoo land. And I actually said at the beginning of the video that I think the MMA ethos of being good at a bit of everything is a really good way to be. You know, if you can grapple and you can strike and you can do a bit of that stuff, that's probably better than just trying to focus on one thing where you're missing a big chunk. And another thing I also wanted to say is, I mean, that's a whole nother topic, but the ground is the most dangerous place to be. The ground is a place where most officers get hurt, that I have experience of. The ground is a place where I've been most hurt. And yeah, so from my opinion, you know, there's lots of ground, and you always seem to end up on the ground, but it's not an ideal place for out there in real land, real world. It's really not nice. And I tell you this from my heart. I'm not trying to go against anyone's BJJ or anything like that. BJJ is awesome. I went just a couple of months back to go and train with some BJJ guys just to make sure my ground game was all right. And if I had a BJJ club here, I would go to it as well to develop those skills. But just know, people, from my heart here, honestly, the ground is a dangerous place. Like, seriously, you don't want to go there. Or at least in my job, with a gun and a taser and gas and whatever, if I fall on the floor, I'm fucked. Sorry to swear, but, you know, and I've been on the floor and I didn't stay there long and I didn't like it, yeah? You don't want to be there. Okay, guys, well... Yeah, bud. So if you're particularly skinny or whatever, you know, I'm not the biggest person in the world. Yeah, go and do a grappling art. That's awesome. Yeah, you know, I fought in BJJ. I fought a lot of guys when I went for the practice session. You know, a lot of them were pretty big, but you know, like you probably see from my channel, I've done a lot of strength training. I do a lot of these weird exercises and shit. So I was a lot tougher than I looked. So, but I fought another South African guy who, you know, I thought, you know, this guy's like going to be, you know, he had glasses and stuff. Not that that's anything, there's nothing wrong with glasses, but, you know, from my looks, I was like, okay, this guy shouldn't be too hard to beat. And he bloody I got tired and he bloody put me in a choke and I tapped out, you know. I was like, yeah, man, you got me. I was proud it was another South African because I'm South African. I was like, yeah, I'll lose to a South African. But, you know, it just goes to show you can never judge a book by its cover, you know, or give everyone respect. And yeah, it's stuff that really works. It's really awesome stuff. But don't neglect your striking. Don't put yourself down. You know, if you're a bit skinny, don't think, or you feel skinny, don't think you can't still have power and strength. You know, you can still have power and strength and you can still develop those things. You know, you can still go to, you know, yeah, you can still pack power into your body. You know, maybe not necessarily the Western way through like repetitively lifting weights. But another thing is, so I'll tell you guys, this is true before I go. Here in Australia, they have a thing called the TRG, the Tactical Response Group. Now, I tried out for them not so long ago, you know, because I thought, you know, I'm tough and I train a lot and da-da-da. And they train sort of SAS militaristically, or however you say it. And they had you carrying this steel bar all the time and doing like 80 reps of this and then 60 reps of that and then bloody 50 burpees and then swimming with your gear on and running around the track so many times, and it freaking killed me. It killed me. And though, you know, those guys there, you know, by the looks of them, they look just thin and wiry. None of them are like huge meat houses, but they're so tough. So honestly, mate, if you're a bit skinny, there's a lot to be said for freaking high rep intensity cardio workout, military style. You know, all they did is have this 20 kilo bar. Of course, you ran around with it all the time like it's a gun and equipment, and we had to do pack marches and stuff. And I did the stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't get in on that time because it's my first go. But I'll try again at some point. But it was awesome doing swimming underwater, going and fetching a brick, you know, in all your gear, and then going, you know, swimming to the other side of the pool. But the training, you know, like 40 minutes of constant punishment and active recovery. So you weren't, you know, you do 80 presses of this 20 kilo bar. Oh, you'd run around a field, 400, you'd run like 800 meters in all your gear. Then you'd stop and you'd do like burpees, tire flipping. And I was like, when are we going to rest? And they were like, you're resting whilst you're doing another exercise. So you're resting your legs whilst you're doing bloody 80 bloody press-ups of this steel bar. So yeah, where was I going with that? What I was saying is like, you know, those guys they're tough bastards, yeah? So don't think because I'm a bit skinny or whatever, you can't be a freaking tough bastard. They were laughing at me. They were like, because I was like really tired. They were laughing at me because they were like, oh yeah, your gym muscles and you're all tired, you know. But they were slightly wrong because my muscles aren't gym muscles. Well, I do go to the gym, but they're more like kung fu muscles. But yeah, I'm just, even me, you know, not that I'm great, but I just, you know, wasn't. I could train with them, but I wasn't up to their standard to pass their, you know, elite level fitness test. I could pass their preliminary tests. which was I was happy with that, you know, at the time, given the amount of prep I'd done. But anyway, guys, it's been nice talking to you. I'm going to head off now because my missus is wondering where I am. But yeah, strength conditioning. Yeah. But high rep cardio, cardiovascular, full range of motion, you know, covering all the movements. But yeah, guys, so this is IBMA, which is just Iron Body Martial Arts, because that's just a description of what it is. Please do come on Iron Body Martial Arts on Facebook, have a go. If you want, subscribe to the channel and force me to actually reply to videos and put videos on. But yeah, have a look at some of the stuff I've got. But yeah, great speaking with people. And yeah, we're trying to put a real spin on things for once, you know, and stop some of this infighting that's going on, you know, between martial arts and groups and stuff. And I don't know. Anyway, I've talked enough. See you guys.